Hi and welcome to Online Appliance Tech. Today we're working on the French door LG refrigerator that's leaking water out the fresh food section. So if you have water like this in your deli or under your deli and you have water leaking out the front door, more than likely you have a clogged drain line. In this video we'll show you how to remove the back panel and declog the line, and also how to remove the back panel where the condenser is and remove the lines and clean them also. So let's get started. First, remove all the drawers and shelves. Once you remove all the top shelves, just pick up this bottom drawer or the assembly and lift straight up and pull straight out, and then just kind of turn it sideways to remove it. Okay, so what's going on here is the water is coming out from the evaporator section, and obviously it will build up with ice at some points. At this point you'll need a Phillips head screw bit or drill or hand tool, whatever you prefer. Remove these two Phillips screws, just to support on the left hand side only. The one on the right you will not have to remove. Excuse me. As you can see here, it's just clipped into the cover of the evaporator cover in the back, and like I said, the right one you just don't remove because it's not in your way. Here you go, take a flathead, you'll go in the upper position and just press in and pry out. And there's just two little clips, or one at the top and the bottom. There we go. And then you have a couple of Phillips screws, two at the bottom and one at the top you'll remove. And just kind of keep track of where they go. So make a little pile. Now we're going to remove the support beam, just pull it straight out. You have one Phillips screw down here. This holds the evaporator cover into the back housing, and you have one here on the left. Same concept, holds it into the back housing of the wall, the evaporator cover. Right now we're going to remove the back cover. So you'll start from the top and pull out. Sometimes you'll have refrigerators where they're kind of stuck in there, like if the whole refrigerator got, I guess you would say, hot, and then allowed the housing to not allow the cover to come off. So you definitely have to be careful and just pry a little bit at a time from the top and then work your way down. I do recommend, before you try to remove this whole panel, if you do not have a steamer, I would recommend let it sit for a day with the doors open, unplugged, because you can actually mess up the evaporator if you yank. Say if ice is connected to the cover and to the evap, and you yank on the evap and you mess your evap up, or vice versa, you can mess the panel up. So if you don't have a steamer, I recommend you just let it defrost itself for at least a day with the doors open. Okay, so now I defrosted it, I believe, enough for the steamer, so I'm going to attempt to remove the cover. If it gets too hard to remove, I'll just keep on using the steamer to remove the rest of the ice. As you can see here, I do have a big ball of ice that's stuck to the evap and also stuck to the cover, and this is exactly what I mean. If you do have this ice stuck to the cover and the evap, and if you yank it, you can mess up the evap and also the cover. And this actually has a lot of ice. At this point I looked at it and I thought it has actually a freon leak, because it's what it kind of looks like. So I did some more tests. I did a main control board test to check the amperage and the voltage output, and it did pass in the frost pattern at the end. As you can see here, we do have water. So what I believe that happened is the water came up because it couldn't go to the bottom, and it caused this big iceberg, I guess you would want to call it. So at this point I just declogged it, and as you can see, yeah, it comes up, and that can cause also a big ice block. And another tip too, anytime you have ice on this evaporator, you want to make sure it's completely defrost, not a bit of ice, because say if you have a little speck of ice and then you plug it in, right here I'm basically trying to declog this line and it's just not going nowhere. I do this a couple times, and obviously here in a moment or near the end of the video I'll show you exactly why this water is not going down. But back to topic, if you have any bit of ice left over and you plug this thing in, that little ball of ice is like a snowball that you roll down a hill. It'll get bigger and bigger, and then you'll have a restriction or airflow restriction or a big ice ball like this. So I recommend to remove all ice, any bit of ice that's on the evaporator, even if you have to open the door and let it set for a day when the door is open. Now I'll show you the second step, and this is very important. So first, just remove all the Phillips screws that are holding the water line, and also we're going to remove the Phillips screws that hold the back panel. I recommend at this point to unplug it, that way it's a little bit safer at the moment unless you're experienced, but if you're really not used to this type of work, I would just unplug it now for the moment, and then you'll remove the back panel by lifting it up, and it's got a couple clips at the bottom. As you can see, this is a copper line, so I have to kind of work my way around this one. Okay, this is a little bit off topic, but as you can see here, the condenser coils are fairly dirty. This is what kills these LG compressors. Also, it clogs up these lines here, which backs up the water up to the eValve. So let's remove this line, just pull it down. As you can see, the water is wanting to work its way down already. So I'm going to have a little bit of a mess. So I'm going to pull this off. There we go. And so this is my clog. So if the water can't come from the top to the bottom because of this clogged line, it'll just work its way back up. And then it'll make that big ice effect. It looks like a freon leak, but in this case, I don't believe that was the case, because I did some compressor checks and voltage and amperage tests, which I'll leave in another video for more advanced technicians. So here we're just going to pressurize this out with a steamer, and as you can see, it just doesn't want to go down, so I actually had to pull the bottom part out too and flush it out both ways. If you have a zip tie, just take it out, take it completely out, and just run it through a sink, and then just zip tie it back on and connect it. But at this point I was like, well, I'll just take it out the bottom. I already made a mess, and then I'll just flush it out from the back, or yeah, from underneath I meant. There's a clog, so let me get my steamer. So I'm going to take the steamer. Just be careful if you do have one of these, they're pretty hot. So see, it's coming out a little bit, but not as much as it should. So then I'm going to come under the bottom and then steaming out that way. Or you could just, like I said, take it to the sink. There we go. So now I'm going to go ahead and reconnect it. Definitely make sure it's connected. If you don't connect this back right, it's like having a big hole in your fresh fruit section, and it'll freeze up with ice because it'll be trying to remove the heat from the bottom of the fridge. So these are the condensers. Definitely clean these at least every year. If you don't have a steamer, just call someone out to clean them out real well with the right way, not just with a brush on the outside, but actually clean them well. Especially the newer model LGs, they just can't handle the abuse. So this is the most common problem when compressors go bad, is because the condensers cannot remove the heat, turn the vapor to a liquid before it gets to the filter dryer. So this is very, very important. And also the grills on the panel right here, make sure you brush that well and clean it the way the cool air can circulate through. Now we'll just reinstall the panel. Okay, so right here I'm going to go ahead and check the voltage output from the main board, and also do a amperage test. Like I said, this is more for advanced technicians. If you don't know how to do this and test the compressor from the board without piercing the line, this is a good test. I'll make a video about this later on. Okay, so this is something you want to do. You want to check to make sure the frost pattern is even, or not even, but just working all the way through the evap, through the coils. You'll see like a white frost pattern. If you just have it at the tip of the evap, that means you do have a freon leak for sure. And then I noticed this installation came undone. It was actually just laying on the evap. It's very common to see. So you want to put this back around the entrance of the evaporator where it comes from the wall to the evap, because as soon as it comes in the wall, it starts to remove heat and it causes a lot of I guess it freezes up faster than the rest of the evap. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just put like a zip tie. I'm not going to go extremely tight, just enough to give it a little snug so it doesn't fall off, because this is actually important. That's why LG they put it there, because it's supposed to be there. And like I said, anytime the capillary tube comes into this fresh fruit section to remove heat, the first part of it is going to freeze up to a lot more than the rest of the evap, if that makes sense. It's kind of hard to explain, but definitely just put it back where it goes. Now let's install the cover. Just clip your harness back in. It only goes one way, you can't mess that up. So there we go. And then you'll press the, well, not press, but push the bottom in first. You have 3 clips at the bottom that line up with the housing of the fridge. So make sure they're perfectly aligned, and then once they're aligned, you kind of look down and make sure they're in the housing, and then you just work your way up. Usually it's not this hard to remove and press in, but in this case I believe the refrigerator got super hot and just kind of warped the inner housing. You just remove any excess ice if you see any. Now let's install the middle support bracket. This is what holds the shelves, and then we're going to take the 2 Phillips screws and just tighten that to the evaporator cover. Now you'll install the bottom one, not the very bottom one, just the bottom one from the support. And then you're going to take your 2 extra screws, you'll place them back into place, and then the one underneath the support frame. This is what holds the evaporator cover and this frame into the housing. Reinstall your 2 clips, one at the top and one at the bottom. They can only go one way. And now we're going to slide in the side support shelf. It just slides into the little groove. Let me clean this up real quick. Okay, so yeah, it slides into the back evap cover. It has a little spot there it slides into, if you can see that. And then just install your 2 Phillips screws. When you install this shelf, just go in sideways the same way you took it out, and then go straight down. Press it in the back first, and then you'll see here it clicks down, so you have to press down just a little bit, and it'll click into place. Well, I hope this video was helpful, and please like and subscribe for more future tips and videos, and have a good day.